live mini lesson number 5. Today's lesson has most to do with a couple stories, so it's mostly talking, not so much playing and demonstrating. This one is called The Antidote to Accidentally Playing Fills, and you know what I'm talking about. We don't want to be that drummer, and we probably all were that drummer at one point, or maybe you still are, which is okay, because there's hope for all of us. But what I'm talking about is the drummer who just plays fills as though, I don't know, as though it's part of just breathing, and like there's no possible way to avoid it. It just happens. You're playing and there's fills. They just happen and they're uncontrollable, and they usually sound kind of the same. Maybe something like this. They just keep happening. And there's so many of them, and they all sound the same. My point is not so much how they sound. Developing your vocab of fills and approaching your fills, and I don't want to say repertoire, because I don't like the idea of having like these go-to fills and which one am I going to do today or during this moment. That's totally a tangent, but what was I getting at? Yeah, you don't want to just have this approach where it's just autopilot and they just happen without your control. So that's what not to do. We don't want to just be out of control. We want to be in control, and we want to be able to play fills when we think they should fit, when they fit best into the music, and when we want to play them. I think it's important in general as a drummer and musician to be in control over as much as possible on the kit, over your sound, over what your limbs are doing, over your tone, over your technique, and not just having things happen just because it's what you do and what you automatically do and you can't do any other. So let's get in control of this. This idea comes from a story I heard Dave Grohl tell in an interview a long time ago, and shout out to Dave Grohl because he was a musical and drumming hero when I was growing up, so I appreciate his contribution to drumming and to the rock world. Just such a creative drummer, so much energy, and it's kind of a cool story. And by the way, I'll share with you a bonus story about Dave Grohl at the end, personal story. But in this interview, he talks about jamming with someone back in the day. I think it was an accomplished musician. It may have been a guy from Bad Brains, because I know he talks about them a lot, and they're kind of heroes of his. But all that to say that he was just playing too much. He was too busy and too many fills, and whoever he was with said, no fills for 20 minutes. And so apparently when he tried it, he was so accustomed just throwing fills in all the time that, he couldn't help it. And so these 20 minutes went by and it felt like torture to him, but it changed him forever in the sense of he then had control over his, when he was going to play fills. So I thought this is the perfect antidote to playing too many fills and to doing too much. The concept is simple, as I just said. Take 10, 15, 20 minutes plus and play your groove with a metronome or with maybe some type of loop in GarageBand or something. And just don't play any fills. Just keep the groove exactly the same the whole time. So I'll play my 90s rock beat. Keep it going. Refrain from doing a fill. No fills. Don't do it. Nope. Keep it going. And so on. You get the idea. But just try it. It may feel like torture to you and may feel way more difficult and just, yeah, surprisingly hard to do. So do it. And this is a really effective way to just be aware of what's happening on the kit and what you do, what you automatically do. So very simple. Let me know if you have any success with it. Comment below or shoot me a message. I want to hear about that. And if you have any stories about how you overcame this tendency to do the autopilot thing, then please let me know. All right, so my bonus story here, kind of embarrassing, honestly, but so like I said, Dave Grohl was a hero when I was growing up because I listened to Nirvana and Foo Fighters a lot, especially around the time I started playing drums. And the Foo Fighters were playing on Maui where I grew up, and it was just a dream of mine to meet Dave Grohl since he was a musical hero. And so I think it was a day before or after they played the show on Maui. My friend and I just happened to be, we were visiting a friend at her work at Baskin Robbins. And mind you that we were in high school, I think maybe, I don't know, 16 or 17 years old. And the whole objective of going to Baskin Robbins was to show up and embarrass our friend as she was working and serving ice cream to customers. So we dressed up like total morons and we, you know, have a pretty kooky sense of humor, if you will. And I don't remember what my friend was wearing, but I think I had one rollerblade on and like a mullet wig and some type of cat something. It might have been like a cat mask or something. And we just walk in and we were just being obnoxious and loud with all these customers around, and we were totally embarrassing her, saying her name and all this stuff and like rolling around on one rollerblade. It was ridiculous. But as we got to the line where, you know, she would come back to serve us, she ran over and she said, "I just served the guy from Foo Fighters ice cream." And I was like, "Dave Grohl?" And immediately I looked up and saw him walking out the door with the lady he was with. And so we kind of chased him out, and I knew he was going to be annoyed by us, these fans chasing after him. But we called his name and we were all excited, and I rollerbladed on one leg, 1 foot to his car, his rent-a-car, as he was getting in. And, oh, you know, this was senior year, so I was, you know, probably 18 or 17. But I said, "Dave Grohl, Dave Grohl." And he was about to close his door in his rent-a-car, and I could tell he wasn't that into this whole experience of being just, you know, seen on the street and stopped. And I said, "I'm a drummer, and what's a tip you would give to an aspiring drummer? I want to play professionally." And he kind of looked at me and he paused and looked away, and he looked back up and he said, "Don't take lessons." And then he slammed the door and drove off with his ice cream. And so I kind of like walked away and hung my head in shame, as I was already accepted to go to Musicians Institute, and I was going to spend whatever, a year and a half taking lessons the whole time. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to heed his advice. So that's my Dave Grohl story. It was pretty cool and embarrassing, but, you know, kind of fun to meet one of your musical heroes. So that was a fun one. But don't tell anyone that I was a total dork. But yeah, that's my Dave Grohl story. And this is my antidote to playing fills or accidentally playing fills. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get after it and be in control over what we're doing on the kit. So yeah, any feedback is welcome, and I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.